that things happen in our lives, in the life of myself and my wife, when we are around Starfire. And that has happened again. And we're going to be doing 2 weeks with Starfire because it's quite incredible what did happen. And we're going to get into that mostly next week. This week's interview was recorded before that remarkable event took place. Next week, though, we will go into it in great detail on both Dreamland and in the subscriber area. It has extraordinary implications. What it basically involved was this. Some years ago, we had what Starfire calls a time slip experience while with her and some friends at the Magic Castle in Hollywood. This event was multiple witnessed, including by the person who was directly involved in the time slip. It was incredibly, extraordinarily weird, and it was not a hoax of any sort. Amazingly, right after interviewing Starfire, the interview you are about to hear, it happened to Ann and I again in another place under strikingly similar circumstances. And we will be talking in detail with Starfire about that next week. Time slips are very, very weird. Starfire is the only person I know who has really gone into them as deeply as she has. And strangely enough, whenever Ann Strieber and I come into contact with Starfire, we start having them. So there's no question in my mind. They are darned real. But this week, well, something else. Starfire is one of these people who is just kind of hooked into this stuff right out at the edge. She took one of the finest ghost images I have ever seen. It's also deeply touching. So get set for 2 weeks of the very highest adventure with Starfire Tour. But first, I'd like to let everyone, including our subscribers, know that William Henry has a new book out. It's called The Watchers. It is the definitive work on the Watchers of biblical legend. It's an extraordinary book. Go to williamhenry.net to find out more. Ghost cats, ghosts in general, the paranormal. What is it all about, especially with reference to our beloved feline friends? Today, Starfire Tour is back with us. Ann Strieber and I are going to be talking to her about some experiences she's had and we've had with ghost cats. Now, you all know that our little cat, Co, took Ann on a journey through the land of the dead, an incredible journey, which you can read about on Ann's diary on our website. But it goes a lot farther than that. We've recently had an extraordinary experience with a friend's cat called Hunan, and Starfire Tour has had some incredible experiences with her own cats after they passed, which include some of the finest paranormal photographs I personally have ever seen. Starfire, welcome back to Dreamland.
Thank you, Whitley. Thank you, Ann.
Well, it's a real pleasure for you to be here again. It's been a while. I don't think you've been on the show since about 2011. A lot's happened since then. Starfire, why don't you start out by giving us an idea of just who you are and what you do?
What I do, I'm a person who is the discoverer of the core matrix.
And what is the core matrix?
Well, let me just say the core matrix and time shifts and coexisting timelines and something called the unified field theory of psi, which we'll move into when we talk about the ghost cat photos. What I did was I discovered that our world, our timeline, is not singular. We live in a world with ever-changing timelines. And these are caused by something called time shifts, which are a generated product from something called the core matrix, which is like a hard drive, which holds all the programs for all of the timelines. And when there is a change in the timeline, an element changes, then we get a whole new, brand new coexisting timeline. But these are not alternate universes nor parallel timelines. all of these coexisting timelines actually exist in the same space. They are separated by frequencies. And the core matrix itself actually sources from something called the ergosphere, which is an area, a region that rotates around a black hole. So the core matrix is really the ergosphere. And so there you have it.
Now, I'm stopping the current program for a few moments to interject something. It is now February the 7th, 2014. The show you are hearing was recorded 2 weeks ago. What you'll hear in just a moment when we go back to that show is a discussion in detail of what happened at the Magic Castle some years ago. Now, I think this discussion in itself somehow conjured or caused the event that would take place at another restaurant that Ann Strieber and I would visit 2 days after we did this interview. I think that the discussion of the Magic Castle event somehow caused another time slip. And next week we're going to be discussing in detail just what that may mean. Now, let's get back to the current show. If you go on to unknowncountry.com and input the term Magic Castle in the search engine on the upper right of the masthead, you will come to a story about something that happened to me, my wife Ann, and Starfire Tor at Los Angeles' famous retreat of magicians, the Magic Castle, that was just absolutely beyond the pale. It was one of the most unusual experiences I've ever had. Starfire researched it carefully. Basically what happened was this. The Magic Castle is a complicated old building with lots of nooks and crannies. Ann and Starfire had stepped into the ladies' room, and I was waiting for them outside because I knew that if I went around a corner, I wouldn't see him again for 2 hours. That's the way the place is laid out, or isn't. What happened then, Starfire, why don't you tell us about it? And Ann, why don't you join Starfire and tell your story as well?
Well, I'll just say that it started off very simply, just as you said, and it's a very tiny ladies' room, just with 2 stalls. You can barely move around, and Ann was in one stall, I was in the other. Ann left first, leaving me as the only person inside. Ann was waiting for me right on the outside of the doorway, and it's the only door in and out. And as I was just coming out of my stall, a lady just suddenly appeared right where I was going to step, and we almost collided. And then she just, I made a remark to her, and then she just went out the door, and I immediately forgot about it. But when I stepped out of the door, Ann was very excited about something, and she said, a lady came out, but she didn't go in, and she kept repeating this.
And
a lady
I was
came out.
standing a few feet away. I saw her come out. I did not see her go in either.
And he would have had to. Whitley would have had to have seen this woman come in. And it's one of those doors that swings back and forth and makes a noise, a creak. Nah. So, Ann?
Well, this was strange because I was standing in front of the door, and this woman comes out. But she wasn't in there when I was in there.
No.
And I was pretty sure of that. I looked under all the stall doors, like you do, and nope, nobody else in there.
Nope.
Well, see, there was nobody. Later, when we investigated the thing, I actually went into this ladies' room, and it was tiny. There were 2 stalls. There was no question if you were using the stalls, there was no way a third person could be in there without being seen. And I saw her come out with my own eyes. And Starfire, we immediately began looking to see if we could find her. Tell us what happened.
Well, I suspected that there was some sort of a time shift involved, and the term that Whitley and Ann use is time slip, which is just perfectly fine. And what I thought was that this was a very real person, but that the time shift had happened right then and there, and we had 2 coexisting timelines that became an edited version, But for some reason, the three of us had a conscious memory of both timelines. So this woman just appeared in our timeline, but I felt she was a very real person. She wasn't a ghost. She wasn't a phantom. She was real.
She looked real to me, too, and to Ann.
Yeah, she seemed real, and I've had this experience before. You know, I am the expert in the field, so I have had this experience before,
Well,
and I have investigated
folks, I have to just add here as an aside, if you get involved with Starfire and just start to talk about these things, they happen. We've had other experiences like this concentrated around times when we've spent time with Starfire, and that were not imaginary. They were really something. But go ahead.
And I really appreciate how the two of you are so accepting when these things happen, and the fact that you are participants when they happen is even more fun. But Whitley was very concerned that he wanted to keep an integrity to what was obviously a puzzle. So independently, he asked Ann and I to describe to him the lady. So only Whitley had that information. Then we were at the Magic Castle to see Brandon Scott perform. He's a magician, of course. And we approached him and described this woman, and he recognized who she was. She was someone who just recently was someone who was hired to work at the Magic Castle. He knew who she was, and he brought her out. And I asked Brandon and Whitley and Ann, please don't say a thing. Let me interview this woman, but you listen in, be a witness to this, because I have a way of interviewing people who have been exposed to time shift behavior, and I need that to happen. And the thing that I wanted to say was, oh, hey, hi, lady, how you doing? Gee, we almost collided in the ladies' room. And she goes, yeah, what happened? And I said, gee, you know, I didn't even see you come in. You just sort of was there, and then we almost collided, and then you walked out. She said, yeah, but she couldn't really remember why she went in. She just stepped through the door, turned around, almost collided with me, and walked out again.
It was as if her memory started when she was walking out.
Well,
it was very strange. I remember that conversation vividly.
Right. But another thing is, had Ann not retained the memory, she was the one who retained the greatest memory of the whole thing.
She did, yes.
Yeah. Had Ann not retained the memory of this woman, I would have forgotten her before I even walked out the door. I would not have even remembered that I had met her in there, that we had almost collided, and it's called brain memory assimilation. This is a program run by the core matrix that wants our brains to only be consciously aware of a singular timeline at a time. It doesn't want you to know that we have hundreds, thousands, millions of versions that we are participating in.
That what I believe it was one of the great scientists who works on this described reality as kind of a foam and a wave front, and the wave is filled with foam, and each bubble is a kind of parallel universe, and normally you can only see that from inside that bubble. You can only see that bubble and its own reflections, but nevertheless it is part of a vast kind of wave that is moving forward through time for reasons that are not clear to physicists. Interestingly enough, the physics of reality as we understand it now doesn't explain why time goes only in one direction, or maybe it does go in more than one direction.
Well, it does go in more than one, but not per timeline. Every coexisting timeline only moves in, as you're saying, one wave. But because we have so many near identical coexisting timelines, I call it a time shift, because suddenly you may find yourself 2 hours before you were a moment ago. Or you may find yourself years displaced. But if your brain is not conscious of that time or place displacement, you don't know. The whole reason how I discovered that time shifts existed was because I have one of those brains that was able to retain events in multiple timelines, as are, by the way, millions of people.
Yeah, just like Ann does. Annie, what do you it looks like you've got something to say.
Well, Starfire, I was thinking this over shortly after this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And we were taking a plane. We're at an airport, and they've got people movers there.
Yes.
Okay, so you're on a people mover, and you can either walk along the people mover, or you can walk next to the people mover, or you could stand still and just ride along it. But no matter what you're doing, that's where your full attention is. And I thought, this is like being on a people mover. You only pay attention to what you're doing, but there's a lot else going on.
That's right. That's right. And the whole thing about this brain assimilation is, again, because this program of the core matrix only wants us to be aware of a singular timeline, as if that's all our world is.
Right.
But if we believe that, you see, then we cannot answer. The biggest question is, how does the paranormal work? What is the science behind it? What is the science behind psychic dreaming, precognition, all of those wonderful things that can authentically be documented? And I'm talking about the authentic ones, of course.
Yes, because there's plenty that are authentic, but if people wish were authentic, we're going to take a little break right now, and when we get back, we're going to add cats into this paranormal mix. We'll be right back.
OneUnknownCountry.com subscriber says, the subscriber offering has blossomed into an indispensable tool for my spiritual growth. Unknown Country has revitalized my sense of awe and wonder. I am very happy to participate in this exciting adventure. Listen to what another one has to say.
I've been a subscriber to Unknown Country from almost the beginning. I get information there I can get nowhere else on the web.
And think of what you get. Commercial-free access to every Dreamland since 2004. Hundreds of special interviews, the astonishing meditations of Whitley Strieber, a small collection of UFO videos, but one that is rock-solid authentic, unlike so much you find elsewhere. Plus the satisfaction of knowing that you support the best edge science website in the world.
Unknown Country, genuinely new, genuinely credible, like nothing else in the world. Subscribe today. We need you. And you'd be surprised. Once you start, you'll realize you need to be a part of this community too. Click on that subscribe tab today.
We're back. We're talking to Starfire Tor. Starfire, why don't you tell us your website address and how people can get engage with you and interact with you? It's not that difficult, folks, believe me.
Well, my website is starfiretor.com. And on my website, you can find all sorts of wonderful things that I've written and that I show. And also, I have a section which can lead you back to all of the interviews on Unknown Country with both Whitley and Ann.
Oh, well, good.
Always there.
Okay, McCavity is a mystery cat. He's called the Hidden Paw, for he's a master criminal who can defy the law. He's the bafflement of Scotland Yard, the flying squad's despair, for when they reach the scene of the crime, McCavity's not there. It sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yes. Okay, why don't you tell us a little bit about Zachariah and the ghost cats of Starfire Tor?
I certainly will. Well, first of all, I'm not the only person who's ever had an experience with a beloved pet or animal who has died and then suddenly has reappeared. It's just that most people don't usually get to document it. And you're right, Whitley, I do happen to have now probably, if not the greatest, near the greatest ghost photos of cats that have ever been documented.
Oh, and I think without question.
Yeah, without question. When we have our beloved pets, no matter what they are, but my cats, Zachariah and Christabel. Christabel lived to be 8. She was blind. She had health problems, but she lived to be 8, and then she died. Zachariah lived to be 16. And I've been without any cats or any animals in my life for about a year and a half. Zachariah died June 30th of 2012, and Christabel back on June 7th of 2004. Now, how many of you really listening have had a beloved pet and they've died, and, you know, when they were alive, you knew when they were at their food bowl, you could hear them eating, you could hear them drinking from the food bowl, you could feel them jump off onto the bed or the couch, you could hear the meows or barks or peeps, whatever. Then after they die, you hear those sounds again, but you know there's nobody there. And
Right.
they can't be eating because the bowl's been picked up. There's nothing there, and yet you're hearing it, and you wonder, am I going crazy? Is this possible? But millions of people have had this experience, and I'm no different. So did I. Now, during the 8 years that since Christabel had died, and I had just Zachariah, he and I often saw Christabel. We saw her. She was a wisp going by, and we both reacted at the exact same time to what we were seeing inside the house.
Both you and the
And Zachariah
Fascinating.
at
Yeah,
the same
wow.
time. So I knew it wasn't just, you know, some sort of thing that only my eye was seeing. If you go to my website, on the front page, you're going to find a link to the ghost cat photos. You're going to find that I have a brief history of who Zachariah and Christabel are, because part of the investigation is to understand who these cats are and what my relationship was to them. Then you are going to find pictures of the two cats when they were alive, very important for comparison. Then you're going to find the actual ghost cat photos themselves. They are unadulterated. My webmaster, Sherry, and I worked very hard to make sure that there were no changes in any way to any of the photos. Then you will read my investigation, and I'm as stern an investigator with my own things as
I
am
have
with
to tell you, folks, Ann and I could not agree more. We've seen Starfire do investigations, and stern is not the word. She's obsessive. But go ahead, and that's good. That's what it should be.
Because to me, this is science. And I would rather investigate something this personal and discover that it was non-paranormal in origin rather than to find that it was. So I'm very strict. But when I discovered and I proved to myself that I had actually captured not just a ghost photo of the most recent death, which was Zachariah, but of Christabel too. And in the same frame, to me, I had so much joy. You know, these pics I only took a few days after Zachariah had died. And I have to tell you, when you know that your beloved pets are still there in that what I call spiritual form, the mourning begins to lift a little bit. Yes, you're very sad and you're crying, you may be even angry, but suddenly this is where the healing begins for me anyway. So shortly after Zachariah died, I went through the same things as everyone. I could hear him eating in his food bowl. I felt him jump up on the bed. I could hear his little meow, a very distinctive meow. And so Brandon had loaned me his a digital camera. I don't have one. And I decided that I was going to try to snap some photos in the direction of where I was hearing all of these sounds, just in case I could, capture something. So very shortly after this, I heard a cat eating in a food bowl in a room in which there was no food bowl and no cat. I moved very quietly, and when I heard the little meow, I pointed the camera and I clicked. And that's the first ghost photo that you're going to see. I thought at first it would have to be Zachariah. They are really brother and sister from the womb, but Zachariah is white with a lot of peach and copper tips all over him, and Christabel is almost totally grays and silvers and pewter colors. Obviously, two different color cats. And when I looked at this photo on a monitor, I have captured a cat sitting down by an air filter column.
It's amazing.
And when you read the investigation, you're just going to have your mouth agape.
Yeah, well, now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break, and when we get back, Starfire is going to talk about this picture because you need to look at it. I'll describe it briefly when we get back. This is really paranormal photography at its absolute best. We'll be right back.
He's a detective, good at it, dedicated. Then his wife disappears. It looks like she left on her own, but he can't believe it. He searches and searches. He looks so long and so hard that he's finally contacted by the head of the world's most secret police force, and Detective Flynn Carroll becomes an alien hunter. This very special police unit, drawn from among the best of the best, works in cooperation with a police force from another planet to hunt down alien criminals on Earth. Searingly powerful. So close to the truth that it whispers real. First in Whitley Strieber's new Flynn Carroll Alien Hunter series. On sale now. Get your copy today.
Plus, go to alienhunterbook.com and download the free illustrated PDF sampler. It's way cool. That's alienhunterbook.com. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a 5-pound note. The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely pussy, oh, pussy, my love, what a beautiful pussy you are. You are. You are. What a beautiful pussy you are. What is this magic? When I first looked at this photograph that Starfire took, I was pretty stunned. I've seen a lot of paranormal photography. I would say 90% of it is fake. 8 to 9% of it is just not what it seems. It's simply things people thought were there but weren't. But there is a tiny number of paranormal photographs that are real. When you see this photograph, at first it looks like the cat you're looking at the cat from behind, and he's going around the corner. But then if you look closely, down at the floor, incredibly, even though you can't see the cat's head in the photo, you can only see the shoulders and one of the paws coming around the corner. You can see the shadow of the cat's head. Starfire, that is just extraordinary. Tell us a little bit about the history of these photos and the fact that there are some of the very best paranormal photos actually show shadows, meaning that these non-physical beings can actually interrupt the flow of light.
That's right. This ghost cat photo, the first thing that startled me was when I looked at it on a monitor, I saw that this cat had gray points. This wasn't Zachariah. This is Christabel, who had died 8 years before. And so I was shocked when I saw that. Now, you're going to see a complete layout of the whole photos and the investigation, but to answer what Whitley was saying, Christabel the cat appears to be sitting down near the floor. Her paws would be outward like a sphinx, and her face would be facing you. But for some reason, she was unable to manifest the features in her face. You can see the triangular outline, sharp and crisp. You can see her ears outlined, sharp and crisp. But there's absolutely no features on her face. And I kind of wondered, does this have anything to do with the fact that she was blind? Just a thought. I don't know the answer.
That's fascinating. Annie, you had something you were getting ready to say.
Starfire, that photo on your website's incredible. But I wanted to say, I think that the Egyptians appreciated the fact that cats are conduits to the world of the dead because they're the only other creature that they mummified aside from their fellow human beings.
Right.
And there are lots of cat mummies. Every little podunk natural history museum has a cat mummy, and usually in a big brown jar.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't afford to put them in a sarcophagus, probably. But it's pretty amazing when you think about it. I think about how my cat Co came and took me to the world of the dead.
That's right.
And I think that cats are able, the Egyptians learned that cats could do this. And we have a friend who I wrote a diary about, and if you want to find it, folks, it's called A Cat Dies with Dignity.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is this cat they'd had for many years disappeared and ended up in a beautiful water, I guess you'd call it pond, I guess you'd call it, in their garden, and was dead. And it was obvious that the cat went there to die
Mm-hmm.
and wanted to retain his dignity by controlling that. And I thought that was so fascinating.
It absolutely is. And you're right, Anne. Cats, as well as other animals, horses and dogs and others, can see things, can see into frequencies and vibrations that humans can't. So they very often can see paranormal things that are going on around us.
Right.
That we cannot see.
Well,
Now,
in the case of, for a couple of things, I just want to set the record straight about Egyptians and mummification. They did mummify lots of different animals, but the mummification of cats was unique in that it was a much more finished process than with any other animal, with anyone, in fact, except human beings. In other words, it was a much more ceremonial.
right.
Now, that said, the cat Hunan, he went to their pond and lay down on a stone and looked at his own reflection in the pond for hours, as if he was contemplating his life. He had wandered before that in very, very strange ways. He kept being found farther away than he could possibly have gone, as if he had dematerialized at the house and rematerialized at a friend's house or somewhere else. It was really a very odd thing. And then he passed away. When I first saw Hunam, when I first encountered him, I really was shocked at that animal. He was really something. This was long before he died. He was if you could say there was such a thing as a conscious animal, it was Hunam. He was very, very extraordinary.
Right.
But go ahead. I interrupted you.
Oh, no, it's perfectly fine. Well, this ghost photo of Christabel, because there's another ghost photo which contains both Christabel and Zachariah, that's below it. But this one, you can see one of the paws is perfectly formed, but the left paw, which is right of the photo, is just a shadow. And now this shadow does not come from either the air unit that the cat is next to or anything
you can
else.
see it clearly.
Yeah. In fact, the cat is sitting on top of the shadow and appears to be stopping the shadow from, think about it. The cat is sitting on top of the shadow. That's not really physically possible, but in the world of ghost cats, quite possible. Okay?
Yeah, because they have a different relationship to reality. And now we're going to be talking about that in more depth, because I think if there's anybody I know with whom Anne and I have had personal, direct experiences of these other realities, it's Starfire. We've shared this with her. And the result of this is we know that this is real. Her website is starfiretour.com. You can go to the website. You can go to the section that she's written about the cats. You can look at these photographs for yourself. The first one, in my eye, is especially powerful. The second one, I have to really be directed through it. But once I've seen what's there, then I can understand it. But the first one just will jump out at you, at least it did to me immediately. Now, in regard to the second photo, I do have one last question, Starfire. It's very streaky. Was that because you were moving the...
No.
It was just like that?
Yes. I didn't see any of the streaks. With my eyes, I saw Zachariah walk from right to left, and he went right past my desk. I had the camera on my desk. This was hours after I took the first photo, and I just leaned over just ever so slightly, and I said, Zachariah, I saw his face. I clicked it, and then he vanished. And so there you see his face, his full face formed completely.
Yes.
But that's all you see is his face. It's just floating in the air, and then you see all these streaks, and then over to the right, there's Christabel.
And so they're together.
They're together. They're only a few feet apart, and then there's all of this energy, all of this multicolored, I don't know what it is, but I do know that it changed the color of the floor. That rug that's underneath there is actually a deep rust color. It's not this light beige that you're seeing.
That's very interesting. I hadn't realized that. It makes the second photograph even stranger. Now, we have come to the end of our time together on Dreamland, but for the subscribers, we're going to get into a deeper discussion. What does this all mean? Something is going on here. What does it actually mean to us in our lives? What kind of a difference can it make to understand these things? And now I'm going to ask Starfire also a kind of a burning question. Where does she think we go when we die? We obviously go somewhere. The cats are there. They are there. That is the truth. We have seen this. So I'll ask that question. Where do we go? Starfire, Tor, thank you so much for being with us on Dreamland.
And thank you very much.
So folks, be sure and join us next week for part 2, The Mystery Deepens. Subscribers, stay with us. We're going to be talking about the world of the dead and what happens. Where are these images coming from? Where does the image of the cat come from? What was happening at that moment? What are we really? We'll find out, or we'll get a little closer to find that things happen in our lives, in the life of myself and my wife, when we are around Starfire. And that has happened again. And we're going to be doing 2 weeks with Starfire because it's quite incredible what did happen. And we're going to get into that mostly next week. This week's interview was recorded before that remarkable event took place. Next week, though, we will go into it in great detail on both Dreamland and in the subscriber area. It has extraordinary implications. What it basically involved was this. Some years ago, we had what Starfire calls a time slip experience while with her and some friends at the Magic Castle. Whenever Ann Strieber and I come into contact with Starfire, we start having them. So there's no question in my mind. They are darned real. But this week, well, something else. Starfire is one of these people who is just kind of hooked into this stuff right out at the edge. She took one of the finest ghost images I have ever seen. It's also deeply touching. So get set for 2 weeks of the very highest adventure with Starfire Tor. But first, I'd like to let everyone, including our subscribers, know that William Henry has a new book out. It's called The Watchers. It is the definitive work on the Watchers of biblical legend. It's an extraordinary book. Go to a friend's cat called Hunan, and Starfire Tor has had some incredible experiences with her own cats after they passed, which include some of the finest paranormal photographs I personally have ever seen. Starfire, welcome back to Dreamland.
Thank you, Whitley. Thank you, Ann.
Well, it's a real pleasure for you to be here again. It's been a while. I don't think you've been on the show since about 2011. A lot's happened since then. Starfire, why don't you start out by giving us an idea of just who you are and what you do?
What I do, I'm a person who is the discoverer of the core matrix.
And what is the core matrix in Hollywood? This event was multiple witnessed, including by the person who was directly involved in the time slip. It was incredibly, extraordinarily weird, and it was not a hoax of any sort. Amazingly, right after interviewing Starfire, The interview you are about to hear, it happened to Anne and I again in another place under strikingly similar circumstances. And we will be talking in detail with Starfire about that next week. Time slips are very, very weird. Starfire is the only person I know who has really gone into them as deeply as she has, and strangely, go to WilliamHenry.net to find out more. Ghost cats, ghosts in general, the paranormal. What is it all about, especially with reference to our beloved feline friends? Today, Starfire Tor is back with us. Anne Strieber and I are going to be talking to her about some experiences she's had and we've had with ghost cats. Now, you all know that our little cat, Co, took Anne on a journey through the land of the dead, an incredible journey, which you can read about on Anne's diary on our website. But it goes a lot farther than that. We've recently had an extraordinary experience with